Sorry. Busy. Hey, guess who broke his hand today? Kevin Love broke his hand today. His third and fourth metacarpal in his shooting hand. So he can still rebound, right? No, he's out 4 to 6 weeks, which means he's going to miss about the first 15 games of the season. We're already missing Ricky Rubio till probably just after Christmas. It's tough, man. It's tough being a Timberwolves fan. Because that team is cursed. How do you injure your hand? How do you break your hand? How do you break 2 bones in your hand working out? Working out. Working out? Isn't that something you've been doing for, what, 15 years, 10 years? You kind of know how to do it? You know how to do it without breaking your hand? Gosh, they looked so good yesterday, too. I mean, it helped that they were not playing an NBA team, I'm sure. But Maccabi Bazan Haifa played the Warriors pretty tough. They had a lead for 2.5 quarters. They only lost by 8. But Timberwolves pretty much wiped the floor with them. I think they were up by 30 at one point, and they ended up winning by close to 30. Right? What was that final score, Chris? You tweeted it. 114 to 81. That's a 27-point victory. No, it isn't. It's a 33-point victory. It's even better. Clearly I'm paying attention. On a night when 17 of the 18 players active saw playing time. Sorry, Chris Johnson. And even Mike Harris and Jermaine Taylor got points. I mention those names because I will forget them immediately after they are waived. I suppose with Kevin Love out, that opens up one more roster spot, so I wonder who they'll take. Interesting. Ricky will be inactive. Love will be inactive. So 13? How many players can you have? You can dress 12, I think. So you still got to have one more inactive. But yeah, that'll be interesting. But Rick Allen's a genius, so only good things can happen. I wasn't planning on doing a lot of Timberwolves talk, but this thing kind of happened this afternoon. It was just kind of, oh, are you kidding me? Really? It begins. In fact, that's what I tweeted. Ah, geez, it begins. Kevin Love suffers hand injury, expected to be out approximately 6 to 8 weeks. The good news is, 2 of those weeks are not part of the season. Oh, you know what? These numbers are wrong, aren't they? 16 days until the Kings game. Which is hard to get excited about. Now, I gotta say, the dudes who are playing, Brandon Roy, awesome. He's gonna be awesome. Andrei Kirilenko, man, that dude is a smart basketball player. We are lucky to have him. And we got him for, what did we get him for? Peanuts, I think. Well, relatively. We're very fortunate that Kirilenko chose Minnesota. And Dante Cunningham for Wayne Ellington, that was a steal. I like Wayne, but Dante, man, he is a smooth cat. Shved, pretty good. Berea, Rednauer, Yeah, so if anything, the silver lining is that Derek Williams will get some minutes that he may not have gotten otherwise, and perhaps he will suddenly blossom into the number 2 overall pick that he was, and by the time where we have to trade him when Ricky comes back, we could get something really cool for him. So anyway, one thing I wanted to talk about that I didn't talk about yesterday, and I pulled my tweets up to kind of remind me. There was some stuff about Raw I wanted to talk about. And what was it? Mostly it was just how Vince is all over the show. I guess from secondhand readings of The Observer, what I understand is that Vince thinks that the key to bringing the ratings back, because the ratings have been the worst they've been in 15 years or whatever. Yeah, since 97. Wow. We're so old. Putting himself on television will bring the ratings back. So they booked last week's show all around him and Punk having this street fight. And then last Monday's show, 2 days ago, was all about Vince having the power in his hand. And that was a total fake out, because it ended up being, in storyline purposes, John Cena saying, well, you know what, just go ahead and have Ryback do it. So Punk didn't decide, Vince didn't decide. Boy, kind of like a WWE storyline, isn't it? Where they tell you the one thing is going to happen, and then they make sure that that's the thing that does not happen at all. But the thing I noticed about Vince was he must have really had it torn up during his street fight, because he was still looking pretty rough Monday. And by that I mean he had like some kind of, I think it was like a shiner or something. But you could kind of like almost in your head imagine the typical Vince fashion where like somebody suggests to him, hey, you know, we've made this thing up, but it's still kind of noticeable. Maybe we should shoot you from this angle instead. And Vince would like go, no, damn it, you're going to do every shot from this angle. And then he was almost shoving his big old dark spotted injured face in our faces every time he was on the screen. They did the backstage stuff. They did the in-the-ring stuff. It was just like, all right, you're tough. You've proved it. Way to go, Vince. Way to go. What else was I going to say about WWE? That was about it. I said, wow, Vince is wearing a lot of makeup. Oh, the other thing where they were going to they called it The Decision, where Punk was going to pick his opponent. And I tweeted, and nobody reacted to it, so I'm going to repeat it here now. By the way, you think Vince said, let's call it The Decision? That hasn't been used before, right? And the writers were all forced to like cringe and look at each other and then kind of nod, yeah, you're right, no one's ever used that before. Because, you know, The Decision was a LeBron James. No, okay. Drew McIntyre suddenly dressing like X-Pac, don't know what that's about. The Cupitoke Acquiette. I looked up a couple of different spellings, and Google Translate fortunately has Latin. It doesn't come out to the elbow of disdain. It either comes out to elbow contemporary or the equal elbow. So, I guess it just sounded cooler. The elbow of disdain was like a completely different Latin word, which I don't have in front of me. Well, I will in a minute if I call up Google Translate. Translate.google.com. Elbow of disdain to Latin. Cubito fastidia. Fastidia, not as cool as Acquiette, I guess. Part of the trap is that WWE.com, no one working for WWE.com has yet to get a spelling to come up with an official spelling. And you would think they'd want to trademark that, so they got to come up with some kind of probably incorrect spelling, because that's what WWE is all about. One of my Twitter followers said, you know, Vince has a lot of trouble saying that. Now I understand why. But apparently when Vince says it, it's WE, as opposed to when, say, Michael Cole always says WWE Universe. They should just throw some more money at the World Wildlife Fund and just get WWF back, right? Like we've all said. Won't happen. Although, if they came up with something to stop unfogging footage, cracks the door open. Vince kept calling it Hell in the Cell instead of Hell in a Cell, unaware of his own intellectual property and trademarked pay-per-view names. He's getting sharp in his old age, isn't he? Alright. Ricky Rubio has 1 million followers. I have 561. 4 of which are real. Could be the same 4 people that watch this video, actually. Thank you to you, one of the 4 people. You can proudly say I'm one of the 4. My 10 minutes is up, and we're all relieved. I'll be back tomorrow with who knows what. You know how to reach me if you need to feedback me. So, feedback me more.